Saturday, U.S. bombers and American fighter jets flew near the DPRK coast, signaling Pyongyang's regime that the U.S. president had military options, much to face Pyongyang's threat. After North Korea's flight near North Korea, North Korea's foreign minister denounced Donald Trump as a threat to peace and accused him of lying as a liar. North Korea's nuclear war between North Korea and the United States is worrying Pyongyang can test its nuclear reactors again, as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea (DPRK) drone in Pyongyang's nuclear test on September 3. Less than per second greater than U.S. military aircraft near the North Korean coast is a warning message to Kim Jong-un. The U.S. and DPRK speeches are not easy to finish. More than ever, the United States sends military aircraft to the DPRK. As the Russian foreign minister has pointed out, Donald Trump and Mr. Moon are no different from the kindergarten children, each with their respective strengths, not giving up. The plane, which was sent to North Korea by North Korea on Saturday, has one B-1B bomber and one F-15 fighter jet. The two planes fly in the north, with no military action near the DPRK in the 21st century. The U.S. claims the flight is to send a clear message to the DPRK that the U.S. president has a lot of military options in the face of threats. The U.S. is ready to release its military capabilities to protect the United States and its friendly neighbors. This week, Donald Trump threatened to completely destroy the DPRK if the DPRK dared to attack the U.S. and its allies. The flight of a military aircraft yesterday marked the threat of Donald Trump. Following the flight of U.S. aircraft, Richard Young, the North's head of diplomacy at the United Nations, decried Trump China as a liar, deceptive lies, and said he was threatening peace, and even make the DPRK unable to use missiles in U.S. territory. Seeing the tense situation now is due to the sting of U.S. Pyongyang this week, instead of staying calm, no further tensions on Tuesday. Donald Trump threatens to crush the DPRK as a whole, which is why Meng Jun does not react. Mr. Meng Oun mentions that he trampled him and his country under the eyes of the world. He considers Trump's threat to be a war declaration in history. He added that he would use the fire to put the U.S. Gonad under discipline. In spite of Mr. Trump trying Moon unhurt to kill his own people even if Kim Jong-un mutilated, the experts see that his aggressiveness makes North Korea more solid and well-known. More than tens of thousands of North Koreans protested against Donald Trump, who threatened to demolish their territory. His tragic military threat only makes North Korea's leaders more supportive of Ming Ning, less than per second greater than Mrs. Clinton, who competed in the presidential election with Trump during last year's election. Also said that Trump was not fit for president and that he was too dangerous. Less than per second greater than UN Secretary-General stresses tensions over DPRK Foreign Affairs Chief. It does not matter how the international community must deal with the DPRK problem. It looks like a dispute between Donald Trump and Mr. Moon. The United States is a superpower, showing itself as a child. Speaking of UN sanctions on Pyongyang, there has been a recent round of talks, but there has been no serious consequences. China and Russia have called on the United States and the DPRK to be patient, but the same call, and no one is listening. Iran has announced that its successful launch of a ballistic missile has forced Donald Trump to seize Iran with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea (DPRK), accusing Iran of plotting a trip with North Korea. The missile could fly to Israel, less than per second greater than experts. North Korea's quake-level quake on Saturday is no longer a nuclear test, according to the U.S. team. The quake in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea (DPRK) was not severe, and occurred more than 20 kilometers from the site where the Democratic People's Republic of Korea (DPRK) conducted its sixth nuclear test on Tuesday, September 3. Experts say it is not a nuclear test, but it may have been the consequence of Pyongyang's hydrogen bomb earlier this month. On September 3, the sixth nuclear test struck a magnitude 6.3 quake. Seeing a nuclear test earlier this month, it caused earthquakes. So, the quake is a consequence of the earlier nuclear test.